and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you guys an update of my chili plants, my pepper plants and my tomato plant. So it's been about a month now since I think the last update. In that update they were doing fairly well. They were just starting to set fruit, but I don't think I had any red fruit yet. It was all kind of still green, just starting to get going. But I was suffering from quite a bit of thrip damage. In the previous video I was just starting to get on top of that. Now I think it's pretty much all gone, don't seem to have any thrips anymore. I've still got the sachets out just in case, but the sachets, they're just about finished now anyway. They only last about 4 weeks, so any predatory mites should have really done their job by now. The predatory mites can survive a little bit longer. They can eat pollen, so if there's any flowers around, they can eat the pollen and reproduce, and they can also eat of course the young thrips as well. So hopefully there's still a few mites. And I'm hoping with all the flowers on these plants that those predatory mites will last for a little while, so I won't have to have any more thrip problems later on, but we'll see how it goes. So I'll start off with the two Apache chilies. They've really stayed very small and very dwarf. It seems that as soon as they've started to fruit, they've completely stopped growth and all their energy is going straight into their fruit. So that's these two small ones here. I've already harvested about 2 chilies off each plant. As you can see, this one I think has 4 red chilies. It's also got 3 or 4 green chilies coming on it, so it's quite a good crop already starting. But it's a very small plant, so it's not going to have the biggest amount of peppers on it because it's such a small plant. But certainly for its size, it's got plenty coming on it. You can see I've got some green ones coming on down here, some other ones deeper inside which are just turning. There are a few aphids on it, but it's not too bad. This Apache is slightly larger. And there are red fruits on it, but they're kind of hidden underneath. You can see there's one there. There's another one around the corner here. There's also quite a few green ones coming through. Not quite as many fruits on this, but I think because it's put more energy into growing a slightly larger plant. And also because it's got less fruits, it also has a few more flowers coming on it. What tends to happen is they go in flushes, so you'll have a flush of flowers. After the flowers are finished, you'll have a flush of fruit. And then just as the fruit is starting to get picked, you'll then have more flowers, and the process will repeat. Just basically all the energy from the plant has to go into the fruit, and then it stops flowering for a while. So my next plant here is my big grafted pepper. I've already harvested 1 large pepper off it. This one is a little bit smaller. You can see it's just starting to turn red now, so it'll be harvestable soon. I'm trying to harvest them whilst they're green, but a couple of times I've forgotten and they started to turn red. The last one I harvested was not quite as red as this, but certainly starting to change from green to red. So this one hasn't got any new thrip damage, which is good. It does have a lot of aphids at the moment, so I'm keeping this one out on the balcony to try and give it some beneficial insects that will hopefully eat the aphids off. There's a lower leaf here, which is particularly bad. I'll just see if I can show you it. So you can see there quite a lot of aphids. I'm hoping that they'll either get eaten by beneficial insects or predatory wasps will come and deal with them. So after I've harvested the first pepper, it has started to put on quite a lot of new growth. It did completely stop growing whilst I had the 2 peppers, but all this stuff at the top is only in the last few days really. There's a lot of leaf crinkle. I'm not sure what that's causing that. It could be from the aphids, it could be something else. I can't actually see any aphids on it at the moment, so that's making me think it's not the aphids, but I have to keep an eye on that. I'm not too sure what's causing that at the moment, but otherwise it's a very healthy plant and it's doing quite well. Hopefully that will get a lot larger and we can get bigger crops, but it has fallen over. So it's starting to grow straight up again, so hopefully it'll kind of even itself out. This one here is an F1 hybrid pepper. It's got yellow peppers, you can see. They're quite a lot smaller. I'm not sure if that's because the plant's not doing as well or it's just a smaller variety. But you can see that one's just turning yellow. Around the side here, unfortunately, it did get too heavy and it snapped the branch. You can see that section near the stem there, it's going to snap down. That's still green, that one, but it'll probably turn yellow quite soon because you can see this one's quite small and it's already turning yellow. This one's been doing quite well. It's certainly recovered from its spate that it had earlier where its leaves were going yellow. It doesn't seem to be doing that anymore. But it's got the same kind of weird patterning on the new leaves. You can see here, kind of crinkly. But it's certainly a lot healthier than it was. So it'll be interesting to see how this does as the season goes on. And hopefully the bigger the plant gets, the more peppers it can sustain. So far these 2 plants seem to be able to sustain about 2 peppers at a time. This one though, the grafted plant has much larger peppers, even though it has 2 peppers that it can sustain than the 2 on this plant. It'll be interesting to see as the plants get larger, they should be able to have more than 2 at a time, and hopefully I'll get quite a heavy heavy crops towards the end of the season when they're big plants. My last pepper plant here on this table is the piri chilli. So this one has actually been quite different to the other plants. It hasn't been flowering at all, just been vegetative growth, no flowers whatsoever, no peppers, anything like that. But you can see it's got to become a really large plant. It's started to top out now. Where what happens is they get to a certain height and they start going flat. And that's kind of what's happening now. But it's just started to turn into flowering mode, so I should get a really good crop soon because it's a big plant. So this large plant can support a huge number of chilies. You can see just on the ends here, we've got a few flowers just starting to appear. So you can see on the end there, the first flower's finally open. There's another one just coming along there. And all on the other ends of the other stems, there are actually quite a few flower buds on the way. So there will be plenty more coming. And now it's becoming into its flowering phase. It'll start sending out hundreds of flowers. And hopefully I'll get a lot of peppers on this. As I say, it's a large plant, so it should be able to sustain quite a lot of pepper. And finally, my tomato plant here. I'm just going to pan the camera to it because unfortunately it's quite top heavy. If I move it around it could fall over, but it is supported by a stake. If that stake wasn't in there, it would most definitely fall over. So you can probably see there's two red tomatoes down the bottom there. There's another one at the top, just about there. So there's 3 red tomatoes at the moment. I've already harvested 1, so that's 4 so far this year. There's probably about another 5 or 6 that are green. There's more flowers coming, new stems growing. So this is doing really well. Doesn't seem to have got any aphids really. There's a little bit of die-off in some of the leaves. I'm not too sure what that is. I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. But it's just lower leaves for now, so it's not a big issue. It's still growing strongly. Still plenty of new leaves coming on it. So I'm not too worried about that in the moment. But it's certainly looking good. And I'll just get my last pepper now, which is my 3 or 4 year old Apache chili. I'll show you how that's doing. So this is my other Apache chili. I haven't had this in the grow box actually. And part of the reason of that is because it had aphids. I've had it outside in the balcony trying to get some beneficial insects. And the other reason is because all the other plants have grown so much, there's now no more space in the grow box for this. So I've actually had it on a sunny windowsill and also a bit on the balcony as well, trying to get some beneficial insects. It did have a very bad case of aphids. They seem to have been mostly cleared up by the beneficial insects on the balcony. There was even a spider in here. You can see a lot of the kind of dried up aphids that were killed off by the spider. It's just a very small spider. And this isn't doing too bad. It's been doing better than it has at the beginning of the year, but it's certainly not doing as well as my other plants. That could be because it's not in the grow box, to be honest. I can get the perfect amount of light. But it's doing quite well at the moment. You can see there's a few chilies on it. A few here. There's this one here that I set a long time ago. I actually need to harvest the seeds from this because it's crinkled right up. It's a bit dry now for eating. It's got a few green ones as well, just dotted around the plant. And it also seems to be putting on a big flush of flowers. You can see here quite a few flowers starting to form. Also there as well. A lot of the shoots all over really. I've got a lot of flowers forming on them. So this is going to have another flush soon, so it's doing really well. As I say, this one always used to crop well for me. I used to be able to get a chili almost every single day at the peak, which was always too much from it. But it was probably about every 2 days I'd get a chili normally. During winter I'd only be at once a week, but during most of the season I'd get plenty during the week. Normally more than I could eat just off this one plant. So it'll be interesting to see how the season goes. I'm expecting to have a huge amount of chilies. I'll probably freeze a lot of them because they're going to crop quite heavy. These 2 Apaches seem extremely dwarf. I don't know if maybe this wasn't an Apache and I thought it was, or it's the fact that these 2 have been under grow lamps and they've been kept really short with the grow lamps. I find with the grow lamps, because it's high light intensity, they do tend to stay quite small, a lot more compact, which is kind of beneficial if I'm growing them in the grow box because I don't have much space. But hopefully these are going to grow bigger. They should grow bigger. I mean, they're going to grow slowly for now whilst they've got peppers on them. Once I harvest this first crop of peppers, what should happen is I'll put on more growth. And I'll get probably 2 or 3 times the size of this by the end of the season, hopefully. The piri chili, I'm expecting that to get very large. It's going to stop growing for the next few weeks because it's going to flower lots, put lots of chilies. But after its second flush, what I might do is repot it because I'm thinking it'll probably need a bigger pot because it's going to get to quite a large plant. Same with the grafted pepper here. That really needs repotting soon. I'll harvest this last pepper. I'll let it put on its growth spurt and then I'll probably should put this in a large pot. The one at the back is okay for now. The 2 Apaches, they'll probably be fine. I would ideally also repot the tomato plant at the back here, but it's so wobbly at the moment. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to wait until more of the tomatoes have been harvested. That way it's less top heavy, and then maybe repot it, but I'll see with that. I might not repot it. It's not supposed to be a very large plant, so it shouldn't get a huge amount bigger than this. It is the totem variety, it stays quite small. That's it for now with my update. Hopefully next time, as I say, we'll have a really good chili crop on my piri plant. A few more peppers on my sweet peppers. Hopefully there'll be larger plants. Same with the Apaches, they'll be larger. And it'll be interesting to see if the tomato plant will be still going. It should be still going, but I think that because this is a determinate type of tomato, it's not going to grow continuously. So 2 or 3 months time, this will probably be finished. So that's all for now, and I say I'll give you an update in about a month.